I'm going to have to play this past Safe Harbor hour, past 10 o'clock, where it'd be PG-13, a little R-rated, but yeah, audience reaction, the worst one, Joe. No, it's your turn.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about my worst audience reaction. I mean, I haven't had too bad of any hecklers or anything like that. But I think that like almost every single one of my performances, like unless like the crowd was like on fire, like uproarious laughter, I walk off going, I was so bad.
You're hard on yourself.
Yeah, and then later on I'll watch like video footage or something like that, and then I can actually hear people's reactions, and I can hear people laughing. I'm like, okay, every joke had someone laughing. I mean, maybe it was one person, but they say if you can reach one person, so.
Like at the wedding when you were 4.
Remember, people, the drunker you are, the funnier I get.
Exactly.
I can just see you now. You must have been adorable. Little goatee.
Must have been? You don't think I still am?
Chops.
I can't tell. When you shave that beard, we'll see how cute you are.
I always think of you as a leprechaun.
Oh, thanks.
I can't get away from that. I'm sorry.
You can't.
And it's that time of year, isn't it? Aye, it's almost St. Patty's.
Son of a. But I do think that like my worst show, and it's not even that bad of experience because I feel like I got jokes out of it, but it was that reggae show.
Reggae show?
We got a phone call to go and open.
I was asked to MC it.
She was MCing the concert, and
you guys. Well, initially we were supposed to have an hour and a half, and so I thought, okay, I don't really care to stand up in front of a bunch of white kids with dreadlocks and tell jokes for an hour and a half. So I thought I'd bring my friends, and it ended up just being really bizarre and not well received because people were there to see reggae, which I totally understand. Like we were just killing time, but even still, Joe did really well.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. But from my perspective up on stage, it sounded like I was doing horrible. I brought 12 to 13 minutes worth of material, and at about minute 6, I skipped to my last joke. Because from stage, you can't hear people who are high laugh.
I don't think you can ever hear people that are high.
They kind of laugh out their nose.
People who are exactly.
The silent laugh.
It's exactly. It's a silent laugh. You can probably hear them if you're like within 3 feet, but I'm up on stage, so it sounds like I just like there's crickets in the room.
I tell myself when I don't hear laughter, people are silently laughing now.
Yeah,
that's how I go. Go, Bruce.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They just can't breathe. They're laughing that hard. But yeah, that's I mean, I've definitely been heckled a few times, but I always have fun with it. And I still think my favorite heckling was that one at the Humboldt Varietyville, where a puppeteer had just been up, and he had been heckled a bunch of times. And when I started, somebody he ended up like incorporating the hecklers into his bit.
Right.
So when I started and I started to get heckled, I said, "Hey man, can you hold on just a second? I'm going to need a volunteer for my next joke." And I never went back to it.
Good.
And the guy did not speak again because he didn't like want to ruin his chances to be the volunteer. And it was like the best way I've ever like de-escalated a situation like that. It was awesome.
You heard about a guy? There was a ventriloquist back in the '60s named Winchell Mahoney. He had his own kids show down in L.A. He tells a story on Johnny Carson where he's doing a nightclub act in Vegas, and a drunk is heckling him, a violent drunk.
Oh, nice.
And he has his knucklehead Smith puppet just ripping him. You know, it's like the doctor dropped you on your head when you were born and he didn't pick you up. You know, stuff like that. So the drunk gets madder and madder and madder, and he starts to come up on stage, and he rears back and he punches the dummy right in the head. And Winchell Mahoney's like, "See, I told him to behave himself. I'm trying to teach him manners." But nothing scary like that. Never attacks. No.
Well, sort of.
Sort of?
Let's don't tell that story.
No, I get to tell that story.
No, don't tell that story. Because it involves slander about me, and I don't want to.
No, I don't have to tell it that way.
Okay, yeah, tell it your way. Tell it,
Sounds juicy.
There was a gentleman at our show at the Red Lion Hotel in Eureka.
I'm sorry, yeah, please tell this story.
And after my set, I was really well received. Even the guy who I had this interaction with was even yelling stuff out like, "I love you," from the crowd during my set. But afterwards, I started to, like, anytime you speak to a comic while they're on stage, it's heckling.
Right.
It doesn't matter if you're telling them they suck or whatever. If you respond at all, that's heckling.
It's on California state law books.
I was kind of heckling Sherae, but I was like softballing her. Like I was saying things that like she would be able to like knock like out of the park kind of stuff. Like, here's a setup, knock that joke out of the park kind of thing. This guy in the crowd did not like what I was doing. And
well, he was a fan.
He was yeah. We'll call it a fan.
Not a stalker.
That's what he was.
Right. Okay.
That's what he was.
He's a fan. We don't make the differentiation here
between stalkers and fans. Right.
Yeah. So I'm walking through the crowd to go back to the bathroom or to go get another drink, one or the other. I don't know. No, it was to the bathroom because I had my expensive scotch in my hand. And
we get paid to get booze.
And he grabs my arm and yanks me towards him, and I spill some of my drink. So I'm like, dude, what the heck, you know, like. And he grabs me by my shirt, pulls me up, grabs me by the back of my neck. His hands are so big that he's actually got me by my trachea from the back of my neck.
Scary.
And he says, you say one more thing tonight, and I'm going to break your neck or something, or break your nose or something like that. And I'm like, dude, what did I say that offended you? And he's like, nothing. Like, you don't talk while she's on stage. And I'm like, dude, we're friends. You let me go.
An ogre, yeah.
And I made a bit of a scene, like, get off me, you know, and like everybody like turned around to see what's going on. And
I'd faint and cry.
It was a little intimidating. I was worked up. I was pretty worked up.
And the good part's coming up.
After the show, how we usually do at our shows, we like to hang out and celebrate and go drinking and stuff like that. So we left the Red Lion, we went over to the shanty. Well, this guy tries to follow us.
Oh.
I don't know if he knew he was following us, but he tried to go to the shanty as well, and someone wasn't having it. And we got wind of what was going on when right after the ambulance left.
Yeah.
I still have his
mouthing off, and somebody broke his jaw.
Exactly. He had his jaw wired shut that night.
Sounds like he was asking for it.
And the kicker for me is, I consider it the intellectual equivalent of scalping him, but I have his fedora that was laying on the asphalt after he was knocked flat. So after the ambulance left, I got his hat, and I think that means I won.
You won.
I won.
Without lifting a finger.
Yeah, I didn't even have to hit him.
See, pacifism is the answer, folks, but do it in a funny way.
Yeah, exactly.
So, any more comments like your best night? Your best night. I mean, I don't know what to compare that to. Like hey, sit on down, grab a chair. We got more comedians joining us as we speak. There goes Joe's bottle. Good.
Oh,
Lord.
someone's drinking.
Well,
let's introduce who just showed up.
Yes. Yeah, who just showed up here?
This here is
Nando.
Molina.
What's your last name?
Molina.
And what's your name, sir?
My name's Joseph Wasetis.
Joseph? And
Nando.
Nando.
He's gonna mess it up.
I can edit this later. I can't remember his name either. I'm Mark Dupres of Mark on the Mic. Tuesday nights, 9 to 12 midnights, KKDS 97.7 on your FM dial. I have to say that
you have that tattooed on you anywhere?
Do you get paid when you say that?
No, it's community radio. Yeah, every time you guys say your name, I gotta give you credit of some sort. So we're going around and asking worst case scenarios and best case scenarios. Might as well start at this end. Now, do you have a favorite memory or a worst memory of being a stand-up comedian?
What was your worst reception from the crowd?
Not hearing anything.
Not hearing anything. Silence. That is rough. How do you deal with that?
Forge ahead. Yeah.
Cymbals, little cannon. Let's hear from you.
In the beginning, it was hard because you had to find a joke that finally worked. But when I finally found jokes that worked, I just go to the ones I know that get a laugh. So I just
Your old standbys.
Yeah.
What I was starting to ask at the beginning was, how did you get into comedy? What was the initial thing that got you in there?
Being funny or doing stand-up comedy?
How did you get into stand-up comedy?
Savage Henry open mics.
Savage Henry.
Yeah.
So that's a big opportunity for local artists, local comedians. Savage
really the only they were the only outlet for doing stand-up comedy, but actually starting it's going to be the second Monday of every month, but starting in April 9th at the Jambalaya, it's going to be our comedy troupe putting on a comedy open mic. So.
And the name of this troupe is?
Ba-Dum-Chh Comedy Presents.
Ba-Dum-Chh.
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 Watch your language.
Ba-Dum-Chh. Ba-Dum-Chh.
It's the sound of a rim job. I mean a rim shot.
Okay.